I didn't get murdered, but she had jokingly photoshopped a photo of us together from a different event.
She did?
Correct. Yes. Yep. So Kevin Durant, a DC local, went to Montrose Christian. He one of the best players in the NBA. When he was a free agent a couple of years back, there was hope he'd come back home, which I said at the time, like, I don't think I would want to come back home if I just signed like a $100 million contract. I feel I'd rather stay away and come back on my private jet, not live at home. This is an alleged story. So there's an actress, Lana Rhoades, who has a podcast, and perhaps you're familiar with her work, perhaps you're not, but she was talking about how she was on a first date with a guy. And this NBA athlete plays for the Brooklyn Nets. She didn't say him by name, but she said that essentially what happened was they went to like the Barclays Center in Brooklyn to watch a game. Afterwards, they went on a date, and this guy brought another girl with as a backup in case things didn't go well with her.
Jesus. Like, what?
Now, the only reason people think that it could be possibly be KD is because she mentioned that he's a Libra. And if you look at the roster, he's the only one that falls in that category. So that, if the story's true, if it is him, a pretty wild first date story. Like a first date that went to hell in a handbag.
Yeah.
But I know there's got to be like worse. I talked about, two come to mind for me. There was the first date when I first moved here and went out to dinner with this girl. And Eric was like in the same restaurant, not like it was like a double date. But we're just talking, and she at one point says, "I bet you I make more money than you," and it was just enough to like.
No,
it just threw me off. Like if she did, like wouldn't have been. It would have been like, okay, good for you.
Who says that?
But it was a weird first date thing because it's like I don't know, unless we show pay stubs, I don't know like where this goes from here. So that was one. Then I had a date more recently where like the weird and the cool thing about the show is like you know a lot about our lives. So I was on a first date with somebody who like kept bringing up things. Like, it was the first time seen in person, like things in my life that happened that she wasn't there for, but was like acting as if she was there for, which was kind of a little bit weird. To the point of like I had a birthday where I threw up at a certain bar in Bethesda, and Eric had to carry me out. She's like, "Remember that happened? Like that was funny." It was a little bit odd. I was like, "Yeah, but like
you weren't there.
You weren't there.
You weren't there."
Yeah, and then she did, and this like. I didn't get murdered, but she had jokingly photoshopped a photo of us together from a different event.
She did?
Correct. Yes. Yep. So,
that's awkward.
Yep. We only went on 2 dates, so it was fine. So that's my like first date bad story. Riley, do you have a first date bad story?
Yeah, it was like my first couple of weeks when I had just moved to Atlanta, and I was all over Tinder, and this dude's like, "Hey, we're going to this tapas restaurant." I didn't pay attention to the we, which I should have. He's like, "Do you want to remember this one?" Yeah,
yes.
I didn't pay attention to that. And he's like, we're going to be at this tapas restaurant at 7. Do you want to come join us? I'm thinking on the way there in the Uber, I'm like, maybe his friends at best.
Sure.
He had moved there too that day. And along with him came all of his family, both aunts on both sides, his parents, his brother, and a family friend that was female that we all sat down and had dinner together. And they talked about how he was ready for marriage. He needed a nice girl. I should help him, and I should be there for him in town because, we're leaving our baby boy behind, and he doesn't know anybody but you now. I'm like, what in the hell?
My goodness.
It was different.
So it didn't work out?
Didn't.
Okay. Rose, you got one?
That's weird. Yeah, I've had a few. One of them, I went on a date. We ended up going to Dairy Queen for dinner and split a basket, like a chicken tenders basket. Like I couldn't have my own, which was okay. Another one, I was set up on a date by a friend, and the guy that I was set up with was hitting on my friend the whole time, even though she was there with somebody else. So yeah, that was awkward.
What happened in your first date? 877-995-4681 to call. I'm going to go to Megan. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
So this was a coworker.
Yeah, so we work at the same company, but in different buildings.
Yeah.
So we decided to meet up for coffee at Starbucks. And we've been, talking a few days, beforehand, just trying to, get to know each other. And then he drove us to Starbucks, and he just bought a car, it's a Mustang convertible.
Oh boy.
And and so we got in the car, and he's revving up his engine the entire time, going 85 miles an hour in the middle of a neighborhood, trying to like look really cool, I guess, like trying to show off his new car.
Yeah.
And then so we get to Starbucks. Yeah. Ugh. And then we get to Starbucks and like the conversation is like just not going well, and I just wanted to like get back to work, and but then I get back to work and I check my phone, and 45 minutes after the date, I'm blocked on everything. On the dating app, on Snapchat, on my phone number, everything's blocked.
Did he say like why, or is it because he's like, oh, she was just crazy, the typical dude response?
He didn't say anything. Like, I couldn't even get like in contact with him. So I was just like really mad confused. Like, I wasn't interested in him anyway.
Yeah,
the car situation.
So weird,
and he sounds like a guy that has a lot of self-confidence that he needs to do the car thing. Because that's how you know. The bigger the car and the more you rev the engine, which I'm sure, Megan, in your life, whenever you see a guy with a big, loud car, you think, that's somebody I need to go on a date with.
No, not anymore.
We can. That is a fake.
I'll take a Honda. I'll take a Honda Civic instead.
Oh, hell yeah. Honda Civics are very lovely. Megan, thank you for calling. Have a great day.
Thank you, my man.
My man. To
My
Towson,
man.
we go home the Tigers. Gabby, good morning.
Hi, morning.
So you say your first date is something out of a movie.
Oh, yeah, a really bad movie.
Okay, what happened?
It was. So basically, I had met this guy on Tinder, and we were planning on going out to a restaurant, but he was like somewhere out with his friends, and basically said that he was too drunk to go out there.
Of course.
So he would come over and we can like watch a movie or something. So I was like, okay, whatever. So he came over absolutely out of his mind drunk, and I was like, oh my God, this is already like a disaster. I don't want him here. But he had no idea like what was going on with, social cues.
Yep.
And basically we were like trying to watch a movie, but the whole time he was asking me like the most bizarre questions. Like he literally said, are you having a good time or a great time with me? I was like,
Tony
oh
the Tiger.
my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah.
Gross.
So the whole date was absolutely awful. The next day, he basically was like, "Oh, I don't have a way home, so like, can you drive me home?" I was
Oh
like,
my
"Oh my
God.
God!" So
Uber.
What?
I drive. I'm on my way driving him home, and he's like, "Oh, I think I left my retainer at your house."
Is he out of his mind?
Is happening?
So
Ick.
it was so bad. We drove all the way back to my house. I got his retainer from my bed. It was there by itself. It was so bad. So I drive him back, and then later that day, he was like, I think I left my AirPods at your house.
I'm keeping them.
No, bro,
At that
you
point, I'm
didn't.
keeping
No,
them.
you didn't.
Done.
I was like, okay, I'll leave it in the mailbox because I just like think this is not going to work, but feel free to come by and pick them up. And he was like, well, why? I thought we got along perfectly. It was just.
Yes.
No.
It's
Well,
always
so
the
bad.
douchey ones that think everything went so well.
but I give the guy credit for bringing his retainer with him, though, like for a sleepover, because I usually just leave it at home. You know what I mean? Like, that's like.
That's dedication to your mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. That oral hygiene's
Oh,
on
yeah.
point. Well, Gabby, I mean, we will never forget you, Gabby.
Well, actually, to top it up, he Venmo requested me $5 for his Uber on the way there.
Oh
so.
my gosh.
No.
Okay.
Boy, bye.
Gabby, I'm giving you a coffee for your troubles, okay?
Yay.
Oh my gosh.
You